Hello everybody. Today we're not talking about a prop, but rather a costume. So I want to get into probably what I'm going to do for my next prop. I'm not 100% sure on this yet. We'll find out. I've decided on making another costume. I've been thinking about making two types of costumes, but I want to go back a bit because I want to talk to you guys about this. The first Halloween costume I made was a Batman Arkham City costume. I think there's only like 2 photos in the entire internet, and if I have them, I'll put them on the screen. I made it out of baseball pants, like just gray baseball pants, a long sleeve shirt that was similar material and color. I tried to make as much as possible. Some craft foam for the Batman symbol, cardboard for the gauntlets, which I spent so many hours trying to get it perfect. And they were good. They were one of my best, and I destroyed them on accident. I didn't make the belt, but for the black part that covers the crotch piece and the ass, I just use underwear. So I had baseball pants, black underwear reversed so that the crotch gap was on my ass, and I just slid the pants up. And I tucked the belt into the underwear, and I put the Batman cowl on, which I have Tuesday, and I had the black cape on that I turned into a glide cape on my other channel. That cape was huge on me at the time, and the cowl was as well. I have not put that cowl on in years, and at the time it kind of fit me. I'm fairly certain now that I've grown a foot, it will fit me. We'll find out. It'll look really stupid because I know how my face looks in this thing. So yeah, here we go. Mind you, I can't see what I look like, but I have a feeling it's really stupid. We'll find out. That's unpleasant. Okay. Yay, alright. I think I spent $23 on this. It's been a long time since I actually checked the prices on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, this is the Ruby's Arkham City cowl. It had 2 holes for the ears. It had a nose piece that I cut out so I could actually breathe. And the ears were originally crumpled up and flattened. And I have a video on the other channel that I keep referencing because I did all this stuff on that channel. I put foam in the ears. And I made it as close as I could. And in short, I got the ears pretty straightened out, and I was proud of it. And this foam head will not go back. There we go. It won't go back in the cowl. So I think that was in 7th grade. That was my 3rd time going as Batman for Halloween. I haven't gone, or no, I have gone since. I've gone as Batman 2 times when I was a kid, 1 time when I was a teenager, or 1 time when I was in middle school, and 2 times passing out candy in high school. So, not this Batman. I have a photo I'll put up somewhere, but if I have the photos of the Batman, this Batman, the Arkham City Batman, I'll put them up on the screen. If I don't, then you'll see the Batman that I made from Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, which was cardboard and foam. I didn't buy anything from that except flashlights. Literally it. I spent nothing on that except I bought spray paint too, so at most I spent $10. So yeah, the Batman Arkham City costume is pretty much what spawned it. Is what kickstarted everything else for the costume making. The next costume I made was a Darth Vader costume, just because I wanted to make it. Christmas of 8th grade, I bought this helmet on Christmas Day. But it didn't come until February something. I think it was February either 17th. It's either my friend's birthday or right before Valentine's Day. One of those 2. And it came in the mail, and I wore this a couple times in school, in gym class. There's dents all over it from when kids pelted me with balls, because I was wearing a pink shirt riding around a scooter with this helmet on yelling, hit me, like Joker, and kids would grab tennis balls and pelt my ass with them. I was an idiot. And I used to tell that story with pride. Now I just look back and I'm like, oh. But I made this costume. There should be another photo on the screen. If there's not, I'm sorry. I'll put them on Instagram. And yeah, I made that costume out of black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, cardboard for the knee boot, the greaves or the shin guards, whatever you want to call them. Cardboard for the chest piece and shoulder guard, and foam and cardboard for the belt. And I tried to make it as clean as possible, like there wasn't any marks showing, and I did pretty good. The lightsaber I made was out of a 3/4 48-inch dowel. that I wrapped foam around to make the lightsaber handle and then painted it bright red. And I wore it to school for Fandom Day. There's photos somewhere. I will put them up. If I can't, once again, it'll be on Instagram. And then I didn't make a costume until sophomore year Halloween. Everything else was just like a bought thing. Like I went as a Ravenclaw student, which I still have the robe somewhere. Oh, I have Hedwig too. That's not. I didn't. So freshman year I didn't make the costume. Sophomore year I made the costume, and that photo will be right here. I know for a fact I will try to put that somewhere. So we have the Arkham City one, we have the Darth Vader one, and now we have the Batman versus Superman armor. I made that out of cardboard, and then and foam. A lot of foam. So much foam. And I mentioned earlier I only bought the flashlights and spray paint. Good lord, that took 2 weeks to make, and we ran out of so many X-Acto blades and hot glue. Woo! Oh my goodness. And it paid off. It looked really good. The helmet, not so much. But it looked really good. And a year later, junior year of high school, I remade the helmet because the original one got thrown away. And it looked like Lego Batman. It was a fat helmet. It was bad. But the original outfit I had, I was fine with it. I had no problem with the outfit itself. I had a problem with the helmet each time because the first time I made it a little too small and I couldn't wear glasses. Second time I made it, I could wear glasses, but it looked too fat on my head. So at the end of Halloween, I threw the entire costume out. The kryptonite sphere was a plastic ice bottle, like the sparkling water stuff. I crushed it and then cut it and then taped it to look like the head of the sphere. And then I stuck a lot of lights in it, and I dry brushed, like really faint green brush light on it, and or brushed paint on it, and then eventually got thicker and thicker until I put white and then green again, and then I got the nice shine. And then I just spray painted the handle black, which was wrapped in duct tape. It was a broomstick stuck in the bottle of the cap, or the part where you screw the cap on. I just stuck the broomstick inside of the bottle, and then wrapped the tape box, or not the tape box, the light box, because it was a cord light. It was all these little LEDs, and then the battery box was back here, and I taped it to the staff, and I walked around with it. And for 2 years, I passed out candy in that outfit, and kids, they stopped and took photos, because they were like, maybe 4 or 5, and they're like, Batman! And I was the only one on our block that would dress up in something that crazy. Everyone else was going to go buy like a pirate costume or whatever. For 3 years, a guy was dressed as Spider-Man, one of like the cheap ones you can get from Ruby's or whatever. And I'm just out here wearing this big outfit that makes me look like a Hulk. And the little kids are like, I want a photo with Batman or whatever. And there was one story that I have. I could turn the lights off. I could click the lights in the helmet. I think I've told this story. I don't know. I'm just going to tell it again anyways. And what I did is I could turn around, and there was a corner. There was the front door, and it had a sink in, because there was a bump out where the front door would be, and then I would stand in the little gap, and the light wouldn't touch me. I would be in the darkness, and I could turn my back to them and put my head down, so I was completely covered, and the black cape covered everything else. And I left a little sign on the bowl that said, "Take one." 2 or 3 little kids walk up, maybe 6 or 7, I don't know, and they walk up, and I hear them go fall through the candy, and I turn around and go, I said 1! And I flick the lights on as fast as I can. The youngest one jumps off the porch. The oldest one freaks out, drops all the candy, and stands back up. And he goes, whoa! And the little sister starts screaming and then starts laughing really hard. And then the oldest brother walks up and he goes, did you make this? And he starts poking me, and he gets hard. I say, yeah, I made this. He's like, whoa! And he pulls back and punches me hard as he can. And I'm just like, yeah, didn't feel it. And then he said, you made this, right? I said, yeah, I made it. He goes, can you make me a bike for Christmas? And I said, you got to ask Santa for that. I might have told that story. I can't remember. But that was the last outfit that I made, and that was the first year that I wore it. The second year was just a bunch of little kids wanting a photo. It was cool. I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I know what I'm going to do for the Renaissance Festival. I was debating whether to do a Viking or a Knights Templar. Viking being a lot more tedious, because there's a lot more stuff that goes into the Viking outfit compared to a Knights Templar outfit. Knights Templar outfit is literally just a tunic, some chainmail, a helmet, and a cape. And then boots if I really wanted, depending on how long the tunic is. The Viking outfit requires its own separate pair of pants, separate kind of clothing for the shirt. Occasionally there's an undershirt and a cape, There's also either some chausses, leather chausses. I'm not sure if I'm saying that word right. There's a lot of stuff that goes, because there's a lot of variations with Viking outfits, and there's only one type of Knights Templar. And I already have plenty of swords that I've made. Difference is, I've made one Viking sword, and I already have 3 Knight swords I can use if I so please, including one that I can easily turn into a Knights Templar one. But I'm not gonna, because this thing is fun on its own. What I'm most likely gonna do is Knights Templar, which isn't a bad choice, believe me. I haven't done a knight for Halloween at all yet, and I've already gone as a Viking once. I was little, but yeah, I kind of want to do the Knights Templar, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go buy a cheap costume. I'm going to buy like this chainmail tunic or whatever, and I'm going to attempt to buy a white tunic with the red cross on it like the actual Knights Templar. If I can't, I will just, I don't know, paint it or draw it on. I have plenty of stuff like that. The helmet, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually get that. That's different. Yeah, I have experience in costume making, obviously. It's just, I haven't done a lot with sewing and whatever, so that's why the Viking one would be kind of intimidating, because I haven't really sewed anything. I've really just store-bought the clothing parts and then built everything else. So either I could try myself, because it's next week, I have a week to do this, and I'm going today to buy materials, so I have to make up my mind fast. So yeah. I'm having a brain fart. I'm trying to English myself. I'm going to Renaissance Festival next week. There we go. There we go. It didn't elude me. I got the English out. I'm going to Renaissance Festival next week. Hello everybody. Again, I know I said hello in the earlier clip, but it's a new day. Literally, it's been over 24 hours since I last recorded. Today's Sunday. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. I want to talk about what I did yesterday. So my brother and I, we went out to 3 different Spirit Halloweens. One was closed. I wanted to see, because some stores have different selections, which is odd. The first store didn't have some costumes. We went to the medieval section, couldn't find a Knights Templar. Caleb got the rest of his stuff for his Plague Doctor outfit, which looks really good. We went to another one, it had some King Arthur costumes, but they didn't have any Knights Templar stuff. So what I did is I bought this outfit right here in the little picture, if I can get it up. I'm going to show you the costume anyways. I'm not going to put it on because it's hot as hell. But there's some stuff on that costume. I spent $60 on it. So at the moment, I spent $60. That's as much I've spent on it. This is not a DIY. This is just me trying to build a costume. This is me putting together a costume that I like and showing you how I'm doing it. I spent $60, my money. I didn't have anybody else spend money on me. I'm happy. My grandmother offered. I said, no, you're not doing this. So I spent $60 on that outfit. It's essentially just a long sleeve shirt and a cape and some foam. It came with a chainmail hood, just a nice little mesh kind of mask that slides over your face. I'm not even wearing it like a hood. It came with a half-cut cape. How I measure capes, or half length, how I measure, I'm 6 foot tall, even. If I have a cape that touches the floor, it's full length to me. If I have a cape that covers just a little bit below my waist, I say that's half length, or half cut. This is a half cut cape that just drapes over the shoulders and stops at my waist. And it's black on the top, red on the bottom, or on the inside. And the next thing the costume came with was a thin fake belt, and then a big gold medallion. It looks like a dragon. I'm not going to use it. But here is the actual costume, like the rest of the costume. It's pretty much just a long sleeve shirt that stops a little bit below my waist. It's about as long as the cape. But yeah, it's got the same mesh material. It's really thin, but it still gets kind of stuffy because it's a plastic kind of material. I'm not going to take these off. As much as I hate Halloween foam, I'm not going to take it off just because I don't want to risk tearing the seam. So this is going to have to stay on. And I did look it up. That says "Lord follow us" in Latin. Domine dirige nos. Or dirige. I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't know. But yeah. I'm changing it. I know I said I'd be a Knights Templar, but I'm going to have to be a Black Knight. Which I'm happy with. I made my mind pretty quickly when I saw there's no other costumes, and this was my only chance to buy stuff. Now, the costume also did come with these gauntlets. They look good on camera, not going to lie. The original photo had like a decent look to it. Oh, this is the right side. I'm on the wrong one. They're pretty much just foam gloves. They're not even fancy. They're just really thin foam cut gloves. I'm not going to wear these. I might have them used for like another costume, maybe a Predator costume if I really wanted. But yeah, I'm not gonna wear it. The only thing I'm gonna wear, like that's the original intended purpose for the outfit, I'm just gonna wear the tunic and chainmail shirt, right? I'm not gonna wear the cape right. I'm not gonna wear anything else, right? The hood, I'm gonna try that on just to show you that I'm not gonna wear it right. The hood right here, I'm not gonna wear it like it's originally meant. It's supposed to be meant like this, and I really hate how it looks on me. It looks like this, right? I'm not gonna wear it like that. I'm gonna wear it like Brave Sir Robin from Monty Python. I'm just gonna hook it around like this. And I have more than just the knight outfit. I have other stuff from other costumes I've done in the past. I have the big black cape. Yay. The one that I've had this in 4 costumes now. And I have some half slacks from my steampunks outfits. I don't have greaves. I don't have time to make greaves or night boots, whatever you want to call them. I don't have time, and it's so irritating. So the cape I'm going to wear similar to a skirt. I'll stand up for this. You can look at my other set of flannel pajamas. The cape's going to be sitting across my waist, kind of like this, over one leg. And it'll drape down, and then on the other leg I'll have the half slack. So when I'm walking, it'll have these sitting on top. So yeah, there's the red cloak or whatever. And then I'll show a video and a picture at the same time. I'll put a picture or whatever on Instagram, and there will be a clip of me wearing the full outfit on here, so it's okay. I didn't just buy stuff. Aside from the stuff I've purchased, like I purchased the cape a long time ago, I purchased the night outfit and the half slacks I got in my freshman year of high school. I also got some props made for this thing. Now, I was debating using Excalibur, but I couldn't walk around as a knight without a shield, so what I did is I took some 1/8" plywood and made this big Knights Templar kind of style kite shield. Now, it's irritating for me to look at because some stuff doesn't match up right, like these are just ones a little bit thinner than the other, and it doesn't line up at the bottom, but from a distance, no one can tell. We're good. The back is leather from the coat again, and some cardboard hot glued to the wood. Yeah. That coat has gotten me in so many different projects. It's kind of funny. But yeah, this thing is about 5 pounds, so it'll get heavy eventually, but not for at least a good hour and a half. Not the first time I walked around with a shield like this anyways. This was fairly simple. I just spent 45 minutes tracing it out and then cutting it out on the bandsaw. I didn't record it because my phone died. I made this after I bought the costume. And then I painted it last night and then let it sit overnight and then went back and sharpied in some line work. But yeah, now what I'm doing is I was going to originally use the 2017 Excalibur, but I was looking at it, it doesn't really fit with the costume because a lot of my colors are black and red and silver. What I'm doing is I'm going on Amazon, spending more money, looking at Vulcan gear medieval ages. You can get a sword with a matching scabbard for like 40 to 50 bucks. There's a Crusader sword, there's an Excalibur Knight sword, which isn't exactly the Excalibur that we're used to. It's more of a like a weird dragon head one, and then there's the 1981 Excalibur with different patterning. The original one just had like a smooth handguard. This one has some more detailing on it. I'm debating on whether to get that one. There was more than that, but these are the cheapest options, and I'm going on a budget. I originally said I wouldn't spend more than 60. I didn't spend more than 60 that day. I spent 60 yesterday. I'm not going to be spending 60 today. That's my limit. My limit is always $60. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to go anything over that per day. So yeah, it's a mess. But yeah, I'm going to save up, because I have to put, tickets for like a student is like 27 something, so I have to put aside basically $30, and then whatever I have left, that's my budget for the sword. So yeah, I am buying a lot of this. I mentioned earlier that it's not a DIY, it's like a culmination of everything to show you what I do to build a costume, if it's not homemade, because this is the first time I'm buying everything. Really, it's the second time, because the Batman Arkham City one, which I covered in the previous part of this video, was purchased. Numerous parts were purchased. Everything else was made at home. So yeah, numerous parts of this are being purchased. Everything else is from home. My brother's even lending me his boots, so that's cool. So as of right now, I have the night outfit, which includes all of the capes and whatever. I have the big Batman glide cape. I have a kite shield. and the half slacks, and then from the top, knight outfit, cape, belt, different belt. It's a nice brown one that's going to look really good. Kite shield, half slack, boots. So as of right now, I've only bought 2 or 3 of those things. So yeah, I will come back to you whenever the sword comes in, or whenever I put the outfit together. You'll see it eventually. So I want to clarify something really quick before I continue. So I did mention that I'm going to try and buy a sword. I did mention I'm using some other stuff that I bought in the past to add on to this costume, and I'd also mentioned that I was making props for this costume. That is all true. This clip is to prove, or this part of the clip is to prove that it's not a build, because it's not. I'm not building a lot of the stuff that I'm putting this costume together. A lot of the stuff I had already for previous costumes. It's more of a project. Now, what I consider a build is something that's completely homemade and spent very little money on. I have spent more money on this outfit than I have on majority of my props. The most I've spent on a prop is $40, and that was the shield, the Captain America shield, because I had to buy so much paint and I bought so many different materials. So yeah, that was. I don't think I mentioned that in the video. I had to rebuy a lot of paint. So yeah, I don't spend a lot of money. No, sorry. The most money I spend on is actually my art supplies. I spend a lot of money on acrylic paints, oil paints, and canvases. I don't spend that much on the builds. So the paint, that's why the shield was so expensive. I had to rebuy all the paint. So this outfit is not a build. It's a project. I don't consider the Captain America shield a build. I consider it a project. Yeah. So there we go. The costume's not a build, because I don't want to be considered a build, and someone goes on my page and goes, "You didn't build this, you're wrong." I'm like, I know, I'm just clarifying now, because I originally called it a build, and no, on Instagram I called it a project, so that's smart on my half. Now, with that being said, I want to talk, the rest of this clip is going to be talking about all the money I've spent on this project and breaking it down individually. So I did buy a sword. It'll be here Thursday the 12th, because today is Tuesday. Yesterday, I mentioned that. Yesterday was Monday the 9th. Today is Tuesday the 10th. I paid for 2-day shipping. Yay. So hopefully it'll be here by then. Really hoping, because I don't want to carry a wooden sword to the Renfest. Now that I got that in the way, I'm going to talk about the prices, but I'm going to start with the costume. The outfit that I purchased was $59.99. Michigan tax is 6%, so that is $63.58, I think. You can check me on that later. I don't care. Either way, I spent the money. Yeah, so there's that. That was $63.58. And then the sword, the one I got was Vulcan Gear Medieval Sword and Scabbard pack, whatever. And I got the King Arthur version. There was 4 others. There was 3 others, and then 2 other versions of Excalibur that I was looking at. The first one was a Armory Replicas gold version of Excalibur, which was like 27 inches in total length, and I didn't want something that I had to lean over to rest my hand on. I wanted something that was proportionate to my height, because I am 6 foot tall even. If I have something that is less than 3 feet, I'm like leaning over to try and rest my hand on it. Like Excalibur right now, perfect height. You can't tell, but my hands are resting right on it. That's the feeling I like. Just perfect height with my my belly button or waist. That's like to rest my hands, like I'm doing right in the sword right now. And then I looked at another one, which was 48 inches. It was a silver version. This one did not come with a scabbard. It instead came with a display case. Now the reason why I'm looking for a scabbard, which the first sword had a scabbard, it was just too short for me. You need a scabbard to, if you don't know what a scabbard is, it's the thing that goes over the blade, for those who aren't initiated or don't know that much about swords. Which I don't know how you don't know that. Pirates unsheath it all the time or whatever. The scabbard has to be on the sword, or dagger, or dirk, whatever you bring into the Renaissance Festival, and it has to be piece-tied. What that means is the scabbard has to be tied to the handguard, so you cannot unsheath the blade and hurt anybody, because they're trying to keep it as safe as possible. You're allowed to, from what I read, you can bring in longbows too, so long as they're not strung, unless you're doing the longbow challenge. I didn't get to axes because I was only paying attention to swords. So the one I found was the one I actually mentioned to you in the earlier clip, but I did the other research trying to figure out which one is better. The one I found was the medieval one I mentioned earlier, and that one was $42.99. But the other swords that came in that pack, because you got to choose which one it was, kind of like you can choose the color of a shirt, I chose the King Arthur version. Now there's the Crusader version, which is basically Andoril of the West, just they named it Crusader and made it a little smaller, so no copyright claim. The next one was the Excalibur Knight one, which I almost bought, but I didn't really like the handle guard much. The Crusader one was $44.99 and was, I think, 40 inches. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description below. You can check that out. It'll lead to all four of them. You just got to click the different selection they have. Then the next one is King Arthur, which is the one that I purchased. I'll show you a picture now. And the last one, I wasn't really a fan of this one. It was the Knight Templar one. I was thinking about buying it, and because that was originally what my costume was going to be. And I looked at it and said, no, it's not going to go with the color scheme. I needed something silver and kind of like a two-tone kind of mix between gray, or between like hammered and silver. So I got the Excalibur, and it should match my outfit when it gets here. It'll be here Thursday the 12th. Now, that version, the King Arthur one, is a lot different, because the one that, from what I read, the 48-inch one that Armor Replicas supplied had a full tang. What that means is when you forge a blade, you draw the blade out and you have a thin piece that goes inside the handle. It's part of your original blade. Kind of like this wooden piece is one big piece and it has a little handguard slit on top. This would be considered the tang. I drew it out. That would be considered the tang. Take off this pommel piece. That would be the best view for a tang that I have. It's a thinner piece than the actual handle. The handle slides on over top in most cases, and they screw it on with the pommel, or they seal it on, whatever. The Excalibur version that I bought does not have a regular tang. It has, well, the best way to describe it, it has a blade and then a blunt piece at the end that stops right underneath the handguard. Or, yeah, right underneath the handguard. What it has from that is something what they call a rat tail tang. It's a thin piece of metal, very thin, thinner than normal tangs would be, which the pencil is pretty much the perfect width for it. Tack welded onto it, so it's not the safest option whatsoever. It even says display sword. You're not even supposed to sharpen the sword, which is why I bought this version of Excalibur. It's playing it safe, so that you have your own. I keep calling it Excalibur. The name is King Arthur, but it's based off the Excalibur movie. This version is literally meant for cosplay or costume or decoration. You're not meant to use it, which is perfect for me because it's just gonna be hanging from my waist all day, at most. Pretty much it. So yeah, this was $42.99. Which means that it was $45.56 with Michigan tax. I don't know where it is in other states. You have to look at it for yourself, unless you already know, because you spend money at places. So yeah, the Crusader sword's $44.99. The steel Excalibur, the big one, 48 inches, is $59.99. And the gold one, the small one, is $45.11. I should have said that earlier. Now I did. You're welcome. And the King Arthur sword, the Excalibur Knight sword, and the Templar Knight sword are all the same measurements and all the same price, so that makes it easier for you. Now, with that being said, the outfit was $63.58. The sword was $45.56, which means that overall I've spent $109.14 on this outfit. Now, I did spend money on other props. I'm going to give you a price in case you want to buy it and do it like exactly like I did. I don't recommend it. I recommend doing your own thing, but if you wanted to, you can buy the half-slacks or boot covers, whatever you want to call them. These were the steampunk ones that I got. They have a suede kind of texture, and they're Velcro. These were $10.99, which means they are $11.64. They come in a pair, and they have a little elastic strap on the bottom. Just read the reviews of what you're buying. You should get the best. You get what you pay for, literally. The next thing I'm doing is the big black cloak that I got like 5 years ago now, something like that. When I originally bought this, it was $19.99, which means it would be $21.18. Now, I did find some others. There's some cheaper ones. I found one for $13.99 on Amazon. There's more than just this texture. I would recommend doing like a velvet if you're trying to be a knight, but I didn't have a velvet and I wasn't spending any more money. So I used this one. So altogether, from the stuff that I bought, this one would be $21.18. The boot covers would be $11. $64. That's what it said, right? Outfit is $53.68, or no, $63.58, and then the sword is $45.56. So altogether, that is $141.96 if you want to do exactly what I did. Otherwise, it's just $109.14 if you want to buy the knight outfit that I got and then the Excalibur version of the sword. So the next clip, like I said in the last clip, the next clip will be me unboxing my King Arthur sword and showing it to you guys. There you go. Did all the math for you on your own. Right. Did all the math on me. I can't English. Every time I try to end a video, I can't English. Hello everybody. So I'm happy to say that this is the only video at the moment of the Vulcan Gear swords. The packaging came in. It doesn't really look too stable. Like, it's been beaten up. Pretty cheap, to be honest. I'm just gonna tear it open. Oh, it came out of the scabbard. No. So it does come in the scabbard. I just pulled it out on accident. I gotta try and resheet it now. It has styrofoam wrapped around it, but that's not too reassuring, to be honest with you. Yeah. Oh. Oh my. Oh, I like this. It's a little thin. Blade's a little wiggly. I like this a lot. This is. Look at that. Look at that. That is cool. Oh. This is perfect. It's good for 40 bucks. Okay, now that I got my freaking out of the way, because I can actually hold the sword and not get all giddy in a minute. This is my King Arthur sword. Now before someone gets angry and says, it's not King Arthur's sword. Yes it is. From the one that I bought called Vulcan Gear, since copyright issues they can't call it Excalibur because of similarities, they call it the King Arthur sword. And it's not gold either, it's more of a two-tone silver. And I think it's going to match perfectly with my outfit. Yes, we already know I'm making a costume. Now, before I get into the critiquing the blade, I want to get over all the aesthetics and all the detailing, because I love this. This is really nice. We'll start with the pommel, because it's already closest. It's got the same kind of cut that Excalibur had in the 1981 film. Difference is it's a gray instead of a gold. The wrap is two different types of silver. I want to say stainless steel cable. That's pretty safe to assume. I want to say it's hand wrapped either, but it looks too perfect. I don't know. It's got two different gauges, two different sizes, so you can easily see the difference. But you can't tell when my hand's on top, and that's all that matters to me at this point. Once we go down here, there's a joint piece to the crossguard or handle guard, whatever you want to call it. The engravings on this. Now, in the original film, the Excalibur did not have any engravings. I believe it had some detail work on the blade. I can't honestly remember that part. But I do know that the only thing that was on the gold pieces, which are now silver or gray, was the etching up here. So yeah, this crossguard, handleguard, handguard, I'm going to call it crossguard. This crossguard has more engravings on it. So yeah, I really like it. It's got two different dragons. Well, two dragons just reversed on either side. And it looks like there's a sun in the center, but when we get to the scabbard, you'll see what I think it should be. There's stippling underneath the dragons, so when my camera decides, there we go. There's stippling underneath the dragons, so it has a kind of hammered look I really like. Now to the scabbard. What I think this circular shape or icon, whatever, in the center is supposed to be is the one on the scabbard. Now the one on the scabbard, really closely, looks like there's 8 swords around a center circle. It has a really badly formed dragon in the center. I keep thinking it's like the regal dragons you can get on a shield. So whenever that camera can focus on it, you can see really tiny kind of crosses in a circle. And I'm assuming that's the round table. It's a pretty safe assumption, seeing how it's King Arthur's sword. It's on the same thing on both sides. It's got some engraving. I don't know what this material is made out of. I want to say wood, but I want to say plastic too at the same time. Or it could be some metal, because it's really cold and really hot where I touch. So, same thing over here. It's got more engraving. It's even got that same kind of round table detail. Same thing on both sides. Luckily, it's been on both sides. It's not just one side of it hanging up, because there are swords like that where they detail one side of the blade and have the rest kind of plain, which I'm happy about. Now, the blade. Stainless steel, no edge. Well, there is a bevel on it. You can see through the light there's a bevel, and I'll hang up like this. There's a bevel on the blade, but it's not sharpened, hence why I can do this and not get hurt. It's got a little bit of fingerprints on it. That's my fault. It's been like it's been over half an hour since I opened this up. I've been walking around the house with it, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. So the blade is 27 and a half inches. So that measurement is good. It's stainless steel, no edge like I mentioned, and I can get the whole thing in frame. Yay! The entire thing is, with the scabbard on, it's 37 inches, something like that. Yeah. There's not real much I can say about the blade. It's just perfectly milled, and I'm really a fan of how polished it is. Now we get to the critiques. So, when I first opened it up, I did it from the scabbard first, which you guys saw in the earlier clip that I'm not good at opening a box. Even with a metal object inside, it's even funnier that way. I did not notice that the pommel was a little bit off kilter. So if I hold it straight up, you can see that from the cross guard, this is a little bit more crooked. It's turned down a little bit to my left. Now, another thing about the same piece, not the same piece, the handle is a little bit curled up. And you can just barely see that. There we go. It just barely curls up, just a little bit. And the pommel being turned doesn't make it any better. This doesn't really have an effect on the sword. It's the same sword either way. But still a little bit irritating. I don't know if that's what happened during packaging. I know this didn't happen during packaging. I can't even twist that with my hand. So that was done completely during manufacturing. I don't know if the handle was bent during shipping and handling, but that could have also been bent during assembly, but it's fine. Otherwise, I do have some gold paint on my scabbard. There's a couple flecks of it that I know aren't supposed to be there. There you go, you can see them. Right here and up against here on that point. Nothing over here. I wish there was no markings. Now, there isn't any that I can see aside from this little stainless china insignia in the center of the blade. But otherwise, that is it. And I'm happy to say I'm the first one that's covered the Vulcan Gear King Arthur sword, or King Arthur style sword, on camera. So yeah, now I have to figure out how to attach this to a belt, because I did not buy a scabbard belt, or a sword sheathing belt, whatever you want to call it. I did not buy one, so I have to make one. Here we go. So I found a cheatsy way to do this. What I do is I take this belt that I've had for a couple of years. This is the one that's going to be on my costume, actually. And I skip the first belt on my pants. I skip the first belt loop, then just go all the way around. Right? And then cinch it down as far as I can. Or one loop above. One loop above where I'm normally at. And then since I don't have the first loop over here, I just push the belt to the side completely. And since it's got a lot of slack, the actual belt loop here is wide enough that I can slide the sword sheath up to there. Now, because I have enough slack on the belt, the entire thing will shift even with the weight. If I want, I can slide it back some more, and now it's just hanging on my waist. And it's perfectly positioned, and I can get it out with no problem. So now my only problem is trying to figure out how to get the belt over the tunic, because this is normally, the belt is actually on top of the entire costume. So I have to figure out either if I can just use another belt over the top of the costume to have this underneath, or push aside the costume, cut some slits. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But that's what I've gotten figured out so far. I'm kind of proud of it, because that's literally just one belt, which is being stretched to the limit right now. It's kind of funny. Did not think I just need one belt for this. So here's your first view of the costume. It's not a full view, obviously. It's pretty much just from the neck to the waist, which is kind of a full view, but you can't see everything yet. When I have a system rig up here, I have two belts. I have the one I normally wear every day, and then I have the one I'm wearing for this costume, the leather one I haven't worn anymore. I have it loose, pretty loose, so that it hangs at an angle. And then I have the big one going underneath this one and going and wrapping completely around it, so that when it hangs, it won't slide down. So now what I have it worked out is I have the sword poked in that same spot we had a minute ago. And because of the weight of the back of the sword, it keeps it at a nice angle, nothing too in the way. So yeah, it's pretty simple to get out. I do it with one hand. Yeah, it's good. Now, the only thing I have to worry about is if the big black cape I have behind me, when it's rested over my shoulders, like so, it kind of sits on top of the sword. So while I'm walking, people might not be able to see that it's on me, which may not be too good, but I'm proud of the outfit's turning out, and I'm pretty much done with it. So now is to just walk around Renfest with it. And now I'm going to show you the entire thing. This video is getting too long, and most of it is me talking to you right here. So yeah, in the previous clip, I did say that you'll be seeing me at Renaissance Festival. So my plans did get changed last minute. It looked like it was going to get rained out this weekend, and it wouldn't have been fun. So we're not going the 15th, we're going the 22nd. Okay? So this clip is going to be me putting on everything that I have now, and showing you everything and debating whether or not to use some stuff. So it's going to be a kind of a time lapse. It's going to be a little bit sped up. So here we go. Okay, so I'm getting these SWAT boots my brother lended me. He went through a junior police academy, so he let me borrow those because my boots weren't really tall enough and I didn't have black boots anymore, which made me sad. But I put them on. They're zip up, so I was able to tuck my boot into the cuff, or not my boot, the pants into the cuff of the boot really easily. And then I put the half slack on, which should be just in a minute. But yeah, they're not steel toe or anything. They're just like standard SWAT boots. Yep, nothing special. This is gonna be like the arduous task of just trying to get the shoes on was irritating. Then I found the half slack, like I mentioned, and this one, it's not the right leg. It's supposed to be, or it's literally supposed to be the right pant leg, but I can't find it, so I reversed it and put it on the left. There we go. Let's pat it up. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking this belt off because that eventually goes over top of the entire thing. And then I put the tunic on so I can put the belts back on. So the tunic, like I mentioned earlier, is pretty much just a long sleeve shirt. So I slide it on completely, no problem. It's a little bit longer, about 6 or 7 inches past my waist. Then I take the original red cape and I try to line it up as good as I can. And then I tie a knot on the opposite side so that it stays up while I put the belt on. So I moved it so there's a better angle. I put the belt on so it sags. I have it on one side high and the one side low. And then what I do is I take the bigger belt. Oh, that reversed on accident. When I take the bigger belt, it'll weave in between underneath that one. See, I'm tucking underneath and then pulling it underneath over the top. And then what it does is it keeps the belt up, the other one from moving. So then what I do now with that one is I slide the golden belt buckle to the back, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass because I have 3 layers of cloth trying to fight it, including a leather belt. So now what I do is I take the cape and I wrap it around. I have to try and get this over my back right without any problem. So this has a really old cape, so those strings are actually starting to fray, so I have to be careful and try as tight as possible. Then I take the hood, and I mentioned this in a previous clip, I put this completely over my face and behind me and put it over the cape. Then what I do is I take the sword, and I feed it into the scabbard, and that's pretty much it. It's me being an idiot. And then I have the shield, and we're done. I just got bored with it and started messing around for a bit and seeing if I could pull the sword out. So yeah. So here it is. It's taken a little over $100 to get here at this point, and I'm happy with how it turned out. But before, I've already stated this in the previous clip that I like how this looks. However, I'm going to talk about the things that's wrong with this costume or things that I'm debating even using. And the first one is this shield. Yes, it is nice. It's perfect size for a regular kite shield, but it's just kind of awkward to use. It gets in the way of the sword, it gets in the way of me, and if I want to walk anywhere, I have to keep it pretty tight. If anything, I'll use this for maybe the first couple photos and then leave it in the car. Because it's just awkward. I mean, yes, I can walk around like this all day, but it smacks the scabbard every now and then, and it gets, eventually I'll be tired of it. So I'm debating even using this, even though I did make it, and I think it looks good with the rest of the costume. I'm probably not going to use it. Now the next thing is my pants. And you guys saw in the previous clip that I just put blue jeans on. Yes, it's not really accurate. This whole costume isn't really accurate to the time, so I don't think the blue jeans really add up. But I put on blue jeans for functionality. All the other costumes, this doesn't seem important because no one really thinks about it, including Halloween costumes when you're having like a one suit or a onesie suit, like a skin suit or whatever. No one thinks about having to use the bathroom or the time it takes or even anything close to the effort it takes to put the whole thing back on by yourself. With this, it's easy. It's just a shirt and a cape and a belt. That's pretty much it. So in my other costumes, like the Batman ones I made, I didn't think about using the bathroom at all. And it was not comfortable because in the Batman armor that I made, I had to take off most of the outfit just to go to the bathroom. And it takes 20 minutes to put that whole thing on because it's more complicated than this. So I can pretty much just take the cape off and adjust the belts and I can go to the bathroom. It doesn't really seem important at first when you think about it, but if I'm going to be walking around all day and getting food and water, I'm going to be using the bathroom eventually, which is something you have to take account for. The next thing that that I got critiqued on was the fact that I don't have anything covering the boot on this side aside from this cape. I lost that boot cover, and I mentioned it in the previous clip that I did, so can't help you. Someone else suggested that I could make some sort of like greave or boot. I do like the idea of making a kind of a pirate's boot instead of one of these, so it's just a leather cover instead. It's just like a pant sleeve that rolls up. It's really simple. It's just measuring out your leg, going down to the boot, cutting out pretty much a rectangle with a little snip at the end so that it kind of turns into like a pyramid out shape. And then when you completely wrap it around your leg, you pull the top over. It's really simple, and I'm actually debating on doing that so that it's possible on both sides to look older. The cloak, or not the cloak, the original cape that this costume came with, somebody suggested that I do knot work down the trim, and I really liked that idea. And I thank you for it. You know who you are. But yeah, everything else I'm fairly comfortable. Oh, somebody said, why didn't I make a helmet? Because I don't want to be hot. I don't want to be too sweaty in this thing, and it's already going to be hot enough. Now that leads me to my next topic. I'm going to be wearing, as of right now, I'm wearing a shirt, the tunic, and then the cape, which is 3 layers on my torso, and I'm wearing pants, this tunic drapes over it, and then the other cape, so my waist is going to be warm. My pant leg is trapped, one of my pant legs is trapped inside of a boot, which I have worn the cape and the half slacks together in 90, 95 degree weather already, which wasn't really hot, but, which, don't get me wrong, it was still hot. It just wasn't too bad. The only thing that was really sweaty was my legs, which I can say now is going to be probably my back. And if it gets too hot, all I have to do is pull the string, and the cape is undone, and I have one less layer. With that being said, my back gets freed up. Everyone can see that it's just a regular costume with some stuff added on. And given this stuff is like a thin kind of plasticky cloth, it can easily pass through air. Like, it got so much cooler with the cape off. So otherwise, that is pretty much it. I am going to do some photos or a video in a couple weeks. So yeah, like and subscribe today. And if you want to receive notifications from whenever I upload, make sure to click that bell icon. Otherwise, that's it. Thanks for coming.